Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Get ready because we are mapping out a truly terrifying sequence of events. Our story centers around a young engineering student named Jai. Now, just 4 kilometers away from Kangra Airport up in Himachal Pradesh, there's a small village called Badiyara Khas. Jai, a native of this village, was studying engineering in Pathankot, which is about 80 kilometers away. During a semester break back on March 27, 2017, he decided to do what a lot of college kids do: surprise his family by going home without telling them. But Jai had absolutely no idea that this safar, which means journey, from Pathankot to his home would literally turn into an agonizing suffer. We're going to break down his chilling chronological ordeal step by step today. This is a true story, actually sent in to us by Jai's cousin Simran, detailing a horrific incident that completely upended his life. Imagine waking up in your own childhood bedroom, but the voice screaming out of your mouth isn't yours. Imagine your family rushing in, terrified, only to hear two distinct voices overlapping from your throat, aggressively demanding, "Why did you leave me? I will stay with you now. Do whatever you want. Why did you go over me?" This wasn't a nightmare. This was the horrific climax of Jay's surprise trip home. Okay, let's dive into this. How does a normal, everyday bus trip for a college student devolve into a desperate, supernatural fight for a young man's soul? To understand exactly where things went wrong, we have to map out this 2017 journey step by step. By analyzing the geography, the timeline, and the precise moments of escalation, we can see how one simple, seemingly harmless decision triggered a cascading nightmare. Let's start with the timeline of this doomed trip. Jai boarded a bus from the Pathankot bus stand at 8 p.m. The plan was pretty straightforward: travel 75 kilometers to the nearest town of Gagal. It's a journey that usually takes about 3 hours, putting him there by 11 p.m. From there, he figured he'd grab a shared taxi or maybe a local bus for the short final leg to his village. But man, Jai's luck was just not on his side. His bus broke down not once, but twice on those dark roads, delaying his arrival drastically. His actual arrival time at the Gagal bus stand was a devastating 1:30 a.m. By the time Jai was finally dropped off, he noticed an eerie silence. There was absolutely no one around. The Gagal bus stand was completely dead. No taxis, no bikes, no other buses. Just the isolating sound of night insects. And he was facing a 4-kilometer trek in the pitch black. Jai couldn't figure out how to get home. He debated calling his family for a ride, but then thought, it's already 1:30 in the morning, and it really wouldn't be right to disturb them at this time. In that exact moment, he made a grave mistake. He decided to walk. Now, Jai wasn't entirely foolish, right? He was a hellman, and having lived in the village all his life, he was totally used to walking these local paths. 4 kilometers really didn't feel that far to him. But he was walking against a ticking clock. His phone battery was at a critical 20%. Knowing he would be late and walking alone, he called his girlfriend, who was still awake. He asked her, "Friend, keep talking to me until I reach the village." So, with his backpack slung over his shoulder and his fading digital lifeline pressed to his ear, he stepped off into the darkness. Now, what's really interesting about this geographical route is an area known locally as Buddy. Every year, a massive fair is held right there. In fact, Jai was traveling home specifically to attend this very fair the next day with his cousins. But at almost 2 in the morning, as Jai approached the spot, Buddy was entirely devoid of life. No fair stalls, no swings, absolutely nothing. Just an empty, dull, and unnerving expanse of dirt and trees. As Jai crossed those desolate fairgrounds, the environment began to shift in deeply unsettling ways. First, he heard the distinct sound of crackling dry leaves, like a fire, but the sound was coming from 2 feet directly above his head in thin air. He brushed it off, ignored it. But 100 meters later, a solid ball of ash suddenly fell right onto his right shoulder, shattering into a fine powder. And then, a creeping dread really set in. Jai heard the distinct sound of someone walking close behind him. It sounded exactly like an old man writhing in pain with every single breath, accompanied by the rhythmic clicking of a wooden walking stick hitting the dirt. The tension was absolutely spiking now. Jai told his girlfriend, "Listen, I feel like someone is following me. I'm hearing a very strange sound." He tested this terrifying theory by stopping dead in his tracks. The moment he stopped, the agonizing footsteps and the clicking stick behind him completely stopped too. He quickly checked his phone. He was down to just 11% battery. His home was still about 2.5 kilometers away. Overcome with fear, Jai forced himself to keep walking, breathing heavily into the receiver. Just moments later, he screamed loudly into the phone. This was his terrifying plea in the dead of night. "Someone's grabbed my leg from behind. They're pulling me towards them. I'm very scared." His girlfriend, completely frantic on the other end of the line, told him to keep moving forward, don't look back at all, and begged him to chant the Gayatri Mantra or the Hanuman Chalisa. But Jai was in such a state of blinding, absolute terror that his mind went entirely blank. He literally couldn't remember a single holy word. Desperate, his girlfriend started chanting the mantras herself over the phone, instructing Jai to put her on speaker so whatever was behind him could hear it. As Jai clumsily moved the phone away from his ear to tap the speaker button, he felt a massive physical weight press down on him. He looked over, and resting heavily on his right shoulder was a black, charred human hand. The physical contact just shattered whatever composure he had left. He didn't even have the courage to brush the hand away. Paralyzed by fear, his legs still gripped tightly from behind, Jai literally had to drag his own body forward along the dirt path. So the crucial point here is that after 2 minutes of dragging himself through the dirt with this demonic entity attached to him, his lifeline was entirely severed. 0%. His phone battery died completely. The screen went black. The sound of his girlfriend's chanting was cut off instantly. Jai was now utterly, terrifyingly alone on a deserted road in the middle of the night, physically bound to something he could not comprehend. But, survival instinct is a powerful thing, and the environment finally offered a tiny sliver of hope. About 100 agonizing steps after his phone died, Jay spotted a dimly glowing streetlight up ahead. The moment he dragged himself out of the pitch-black road and crossed the threshold into the dim yellow sanctuary of that streetlight, the entity instantly released his foot. Freed from the physical grip, Jay scrambled up and sprinted as fast as humanly possible toward the main paved road, praying the nightmare was finally over. Unfortunately, as he hit the final kilometer marker to his home, the horror rapidly escalated into a flurry of terrifying events. First, a massive flock of blackbirds flew unnaturally fast, just inches above his head in the dead of night. Instantly following the birds, a sudden suffocating black fog rolled in, and then the climax of the terror. Emerging from the trees just 20 meters away, a stark black, physically burning human body came rushing directly toward him. Jai froze, sweat pouring down his face. Finding a shred of courage, he began frantically chanting the Gayatri Mantra, managing to somehow sidestep and pass the burning entity 3 or 4 times as it continuously tried to block his path. He made it to the final intersection leading to his village and just started sprinting. But in his blind panic, he tripped hard over a stone, dropping his bag. As he scrambled to pick it up and turned around, the entity was standing right in front of him. But it was different now. The flames were gone. Instead, thick smoke was billowing directly out of the entity's bare feet and back. For the first time, Jai got a clear look at its face. It was an old man with deep, sunken eyes and a completely charred face, aggressively gasping for breath just inches from Jai. Jai screamed for God and ran for his absolute life. With the smoke relentlessly chasing him, he covered the final 200 meters. He was so terrified he completely bypassed his own front door. Instead, he dived straight into a small, open-air Shiva temple located right next to his property. He threw himself around the sacred Shivalinga statue, hugging it tightly as he completely lost consciousness. He remained passed out on the cold stone until 4:30 in the morning, while the entity, unable to cross the holy threshold, simply waited for him outside the temple in the dark. And this brilliantly illustrates the severe physical and psychological toll of that night. When he finally woke up at dawn and made the short walk into his family's courtyard, he was no longer a normal, healthy engineering student. His family rushed out to find him completely speechless, his face drained to a stark, unnatural white. When they rushed him to the local hospital that morning, the doctors couldn't do anything because Jai was trapped in a loop of violent panic attacks. Recognizing the signs of a supernatural trauma, his mother immediately demanded they bring him back home. They locked him in his bedroom to finally rest, but just minutes later, the screaming began. His family burst in to find Jai shrieking in those 2 overlapping voices, demanding, "Why did you go over me?" Recognizing the severe danger, his mother acted fast. She grabbed holy Ganga water from their home shrine, recited a powerful protective mantra, and splashed it directly onto Jai's face. The shock of the holy water instantly knocked the entity back, causing Jai to fall deeply unconscious. Realizing they were completely out of their depth, the family immediately called for specialized local exorcism priest. Let's move to the aftermath and see how this builds to a truly terrifying revelation. The priest locked himself in the room with Jai. When he emerged 20 minutes later, he explained the horrific truth. An old man had recently died in a tragic fire at the Betty Fairgrounds. Yeah, the exact spot where Jai first heard those crackling leaves. Because it was late at night, the locals had rushed the cremation and improperly left the man's half-burnt body at the site. When Jai, the unsuspecting traveler, unknowingly walked directly over the cursed ashes in the pitch black, the incredibly strong, angry spirit latched right onto him. The recovery was absolutely grueling. For the next 3 months, Jay was not allowed to live a normal life. He was strictly confined to the area near the temple outside his house. He underwent 3 to 4 hours of intense daily worship and exorcism rituals to purge the entity. His engineering college education was entirely put on hold. And, most impactfully, the priest placed a permanent, lifelong ban on Jay because his spiritual aura was permanently marked by this encounter. He is never, ever allowed to travel alone at night again. Jai's life was permanently restricted because of a single, well-intentioned decision to walk home in the dark to avoid waking his parents. It completely reframes how we think about those lonely midnight walks, doesn't it? Which leaves us with this final thought for today's explainer. Next time you're walking alone in the pitch black and the air grows cold and you hear the sudden crunch of footsteps right behind you, will you have the courage to look back?